was never beer before here.
This portal city, located in South China.
We're not in the South yet.
My name is Michaela S, Archie. Got my full government there. My friends call me Mika. Most of the children here call me Mika. Moved here from Los Angeles, but I'm originally from Pittsburgh. And right now I'm living in Qingdao, China.
This is Coffee Street. There's a majority of these places are cafes, but some of them are restaurants. Like there's a really good Chinese restaurant there, and a good Italian spot, maybe right up here. But yeah, most of it's coffee. Like those like coffee shops right next door to each other. And he was like, huh? No, that's not Coffee Street. I'm like, but it is though. Only reason why I know it is because I worked on that street. So this is the way to get to work. And never got it right though. Nobody ever understands me when I say it. We're in China.
Came in China.
Yeah, I had somebody tell me actually. They were like, it was like an old employer, and he was just like, yeah, you're not here on vacation. I'm like, no, this is not a fucking vacation. This shit is not easy. I would not choose this place as a vacation. Maybe Beijing or something to see the Great Wall, but like, I didn't come to Qingdao for like a 1-year vacation, my nigga. Like that doesn't work that way.
So then that begs the question, why is you here? Like you don't, like that's the other thing. Most people who are here don't have to be here.
No, I think there's plenty other places I could have chosen to go. I guess part of me likes the challenge because I knew it wasn't going to be so easy. And I had never really been to Asia until this year. So the idea of coming to China, it was something I always said, like I'd never go there. Like if you would have told me I would have been here 10 years ago, I would have laughed in your face because it's just not a place I saw myself. I was never really interested in the culture or learning the language or anything. But I think that challenge kind of like pushed me, and like there's money and opportunity here, like no doubt about it. So, it's not ideally where I want to be right now, but I think like long term I have an idea of where I want to be, and like in order to get there, this is not a bad route to take to get to where I need to go.
You're a teacher, but then you always be like, I'm a very specific type of teacher, and you have very specific methods that you use that I don't ever have the right vocabulary. So I'm gonna let you explain it because I don't use the right vocabulary.
Well, I've been teaching for the last 6-7 years. I started teaching in Los Angeles. I come from a Regio background, which is a spin on like art education and project-based learning, inquiry-based. Collaborative learning. So I've been trained that way. So coming to China has been difficult because teaching in Mexico was nice. It was very similar to the States, and I had a lot of freedom with curriculum. But here, it's education is viewed as a business, so it's not as exciting. But yeah, I'm out here teaching. That's my career. Maybe that's what I do. Early childhood education, not adults or older children, but I focus on younger children.
So how's it working with the little kids out here? Because kids are kids, right? Or no?
Kids are kids, no matter where you go. They do similar things. They're just as exciting. The only thing I miss really is, I don't speak Chinese, so the language barrier can be a little bit difficult, and I just miss the conversations. Like in the States, the children are hilarious, and we can understand what they're saying. Even in Mexico, you still pick up everything that they're saying, but here, I miss those little conversations that they have with each other, and their jokes, sometimes they just go past me. So, and if you have somebody translate, it doesn't necessarily translate the same way. I mean, Regio background, luckily the school I'm working at right now, they let me kind of do what I want to do with curriculum, and a lot of the focus in Regio is getting the children's words and their reflections on their work and all that. So a lot of it's missed because translation comes to be, I've noticed that the Chinese TAs, they just kind of tell you what you want to hear. And I'm like, no, I want exactly like what the child said. And I don't know, it's just sometimes it gets lost. So I do miss that. But the children themselves are the same. And they're just as fun. They're just as cute. Yeah, I enjoy it.
Cool.
I love kids.
So other than like going out and teaching, you know, I think obviously you came here, you know, you're working, blah, blah, but like, what do you do to keep yourself centered? You a California ass, shopper, type of person?
You know, I meditate with my crystals and I'm joking. I do yoga. No. I've been doing a lot of dancing since I've been here. Exactly, beautiful rose quartz. I've been doing a lot of dancing since I've been here. I used to have a lot more space to do it. Luckily, I found like some good studios to work with that I don't really have to go and be bothered. So that's been nice. A lot of reading. I listen to a lot of lectures in my free time. And usually I call home a lot. Like I know it sounds bad, but I have a lot more time. I feel like when I was in LA, I didn't get to call my friends, and a lot of my friends are still in Pittsburgh, so you know, I don't really get to see them. But it seemed like in LA, it was just like so busy, and I was always doing something, and I never really got to sit down and have a conversation with, you know, people back home and like catch up on their lives. But here, you know, like you really want to hear everything and like talk to people and see what's going on because you're just so far removed from everything, you know, and you miss everybody. So you know, the conversations are richer, I've noticed, and you know, it's like being in high school again, where you're on the phone for like 3-4 hours talking about everything. Like that's back, which is nice in some ways. I know my mom appreciates it. I call her more now than probably I did in many years. When I was in LA, I barely called her. Now I'm like, hey mom. Hey mom. Exactly. All right, so I gotta sip it, look at it, right? Swirl it up a bit, all right? And I gotta sniff it, all right? Oh, lost my straw in the process. Yeah, so I can deal with drinking beer in a bag for the rest of my life. Pretty good.
How has China been to you?
China in general has been cool. I think if you would have asked me my first month here, I probably would have had like, I absolutely hate China. And I'm not gonna say that I completely love it. But as far as Qingdao goes, like the foreign community and Chinese people in general have been okay to me. You know, you start to get used to all the things that bothers you at first, and you realize it's not that bad. And I think the fact that we made it through the summer, which was like the weather extremely hot, like I'm okay now. There's a breeze, a little better.
How do you feel about Qingdao, like as a city?
I like Qingdao a lot. It's not too big, it's not too small. So it has like a small town feel, especially within the foreign community, but it's still big enough where like there's enough to do. And it's close to South Korea, you know, we have the airport here, like you can get out if you need to, and I do like that. But I don't feel like so isolated from anything that it's a bad choice. Like I think I made the right decision, and it being so close to the water, it was like a big thing for me too. So
you're a water person?
I'm a water person.
What does that mean?
I need to be near the ocean, ideally. I think that's why I like Los Angeles so much. And when they, you know, I had the option to go to Shanghai, but I didn't want to be so far inland. So I think choosing to come to Qingdao wasn't a bad option for me. And I think I would have been a little overwhelmed in Shanghai. So.
What do you mean? I mean, Shanghai sits on the water.
I didn't know that.
But maybe where the job was, it was inland. Like
I made it seem like it was inland. I was like, okay. I guess, see, that tells you how much I know about China. I don't know shit about China.
So how often do you participate in water activities since you've been in Qingdao?
I haven't gone in the water. I've visited the beach, but you know, I've been advised not to go in the water, so I don't.
What's wrong with the water?
I heard it's not that great. Like it's like a LA beach. You just kind of there, you look at it. You don't necessarily go in. It's not like, you know, those nice Caribbean, Florida beaches.
I just stay away from water in general.
You don't like the water. I like the water's peaceful. So Like when I was living in Mexico, I was living in the mountains, and it was beautiful. But at a certain point, it's just I don't know. I just didn't like it. But when I'm close to a body of water, you can always like go there, and you hear the waves crashing, and it's just peaceful, and kind of reminds me how big the world is because the ocean and water itself is just so vast. So it's just nice to kind of like have that perspective. I don't know. It's weird. But
It's like California shit.
it's like California shit.
Is it a thing or a stigma to have like visible tattoos in China? Or being especially that you work with kids?
No, I guess I'm gonna like confidently say no. I haven't given a shit. I really haven't. Like the jobs I've worked for since I've been here. Sorry, it's really awkward. The jobs I've worked for since I've been here, I've been pretty open about not covering up my tattoos, and no one's really said anything. I think I've had some issues with parents maybe thinking, you know, like I mean they're always a little bit not trustworthy because we're black, but then like to add like tattoos on it or just be like very open. That you know adds another layer, but I haven't had any issues with it. Not even like on the street or anything. A lot of the time, people are more interested. I get a lot of compliments, so and they usually ask me like, where did I get the work done? But in the school setting with the children, it's never bad. The children, they could care less. They try to rub it off. And I'm like, oh, it's there, it's not going anywhere, and then they love it. So, yeah, I think it's just me. So I've always been like pretty adamant about that. I think I could have went to South Korea and they had an issue with my tattoos. And I chose because I've always said like I just kind of want to be accepted. So just always want to be in an environment where I feel comfortable and not have to feel like I have to cover up anything.
So what's your favorite food in Qingdao so far?
Chinese food or just food in general?
Both.
Chinese food, I've been really like on vegetable dumplings like since I got here. Like I kind of, and it's funny because they're not even Chinese. It's like this Korean brand of dumplings, and they're vegetable. They have like soy meat in it. It's just like so freaking good. I can like eat like 3 bags in one day. It gets really bad. So I've been addicted to that. And it's funny because we're like kind of near the Korean market, so I kind of want to go get some to take home. But noodles I've been into a lot, like a vegetable noodle or like a chicken noodle has been like my thing lately. There's this really good dish with like a yam, and then they put like this spicy sauce on it, so it's like just like cut yam, like kind of like a sweet potato. It's so good. And I don't know, I miss Mexican food a lot, so when I'm cooking I tend to like gravitate towards making some type of Mexican food, or if we go out I try to seek it out, but I'm not a big fan of Chinese food. Meat heavy. I picked up eating clams here, like I didn't really eat clams before, and now I really like them.
You're cool with like 3 foreigners who have appeared on Black in China before? Knox, Andrew, like, I mean, I guess you can comment on your friendship with them, and then also like, what's it like to have, you know, be in a city where you have like 3 very public, if you will, expats, like black expats?
I feel very blessed. Like, I think it made my transition a lot easier. Like, the series made everything easier coming here, but then meeting those people, you know, this early on was huge, because a lot of the times when I just wanted to give up, or I've had challenges, or just not even known how to do something, like, they've all been extremely supportive, whether it was like providing resources or just advice. So that's just a huge blessing. And I kind of didn't expect to be able to see so many black people here. I was really worried about it coming out here. I thought I was going to be isolated. And the first person I met was Knox. So I was like, okay, it's just going to be me, Knox, and maybe like, you know, a few other people from Africa. But like meeting Andrew and Heru and, you know, some of the women here, everyone's very sweet, and again, it just made the transition a lot easier for me, and just to have like those people here. I kind of view them as family, because it's tough out here, so it's like, you know, we have each other's back, which is nice. Okay, I say it's a family because like it's really hard to be in China, period, as a foreigner, and then to be a black foreigner in China is like another layer to it. So I think like hearing all their stories, it's like everyone here has a story. We all have a story about what brought us here. We all have a story about what's keeping us here. You know, everyone's first year here was tough. So you know, when you open up to people and you get to know people, like that automatically gives you a sense of closeness. And then not having family here, you kind of make your own family. But as a family, I mean, we party together, we cry together, you know, we have our frustrations, people vent to one another. We kind of support one another with dating or work, just anything in life. And so that honestly just, those are my boys. Like I can't if I, you know, like if when I think about going to like a different city, it would be hard to leave those people behind, because like there's a certain attachment to them, and like I don't know, I love them so much. Just do your research before coming out here, because it's not going to be easy, and I think the better prepared you are for it, and the bigger network you establish before you get out here, it's extremely helpful. And in terms of finding work, there's some things you just don't know until you get here, which is why I'm saying like it's better to like really try to research and talk to people. But you know, like I've had my issues with work and visas, and I've gotten into trouble, and you know, I've had like a rough start, but I think it can be avoided if you just keep an open perspective and talk to people, man. You can, everything can look good on paper before you get out here, but just make sure that everything's legit, and try to know as much about Chinese policies and laws before you come, and also try to learn some Chinese. I think I would have had a lot easier time if I just known a little bit of Chinese, but I can barely say hi sometimes, so yeah. Don't be so isolated in your world that you don't like make an effort to assimilate to the cultures to an extent.
Alright, what you don't like about China?
What don't I like about China?
Yeah, like what things do you absolutely fucking hate about China?
I hate the smell of the city. It smells, the sewage, it's like in your apartments, it's on the street, like sometimes it just smells awful, and I don't know, I've been to other places, it doesn't seem that way. The constant spitting is really annoying, because I'm not, and I guess the smoking cigarettes everywhere, because like they can smoke cigarettes.